Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest monologue. This is the first in a series of a few monologues, which I promised in, explaining the bullshit terms around our the climate movement and climate colonialism. Today is the first one, and the first one is going to be climate finance. Climate finance is a term that you hear everywhere, every day, at every level, but it's bullshit. Because first of all, it's don't expect me to really explain what it means, because it doesn't mean anything. um it's an idea and a theory that the West has, that the destruction they're wreaking on this planet and the climate and the environment can somehow be paid for by the untrammeled profits that they're making from this destruction, and that this places them in a position, their wealth places them in a position to decide what is done and where it's done and by who. So it's the flawed theory or belief on the part of the West that it's all right as long as we can pay for it, or as long as we can claim to pay for it, because I'm coming to that later. Now, what does it mean for us? Some countries, especially those policy vacuums like Kenya, have wholesale embraced this strange thing called climate finance. And we talk about it everywhere. Our banks are talking about it, our government is talking about it, our Ministry of Environment, our insurance companies, everyone's talking about this thing that doesn't exist. And this thing that everyone is talking is pushing relentlessly. You find banks now doing stupid window dressing exercises, like a couple of weeks ago there were banks planting trees in Karura and all that. No, banks, you give people good services and good interest rates, leave the tree planting to us. Don't try and look good by stabbing us in the back with one hand and planting trees with the other hand. We all know you are profiteering institutions. Don't try and look green and green labeling. So what does it? I've explained so what it means to the West. What does climate finance mean to Black Africans? My perspective. Um, First of all, it is an opportunity for those who believe in nonsense to jump onto a bandwagon that seems to promise you money for nothing. And it's bizarre to me how grown up, educated adult Africans still believe you can get money for nothing, especially from the West, not from your mom or your dad or your brother. But we've jumped onto this bandwagon, and even our government believes it. That's why you find climate finance, green growth, all these nonsense terms are even in government policy documents right now. So you go around. The first thing they do is they create regulations and policy documents around it, and somehow we are, because of our imperialist thinking, when something is mentioned in government policy, we tend to think it exists, or it's real, or it's viable. Governments are staffed by human beings like all of us. There are some who are intelligent, some who are indolent, some who are idiots, some who are meaning well, and some who are just evil. So we have to interrogate everything, because now this climate finance thing it has created a whole plethora of careers. There are people going around, quote unquote, training others on this thing that doesn't exist. There are others going around running advertisement campaigns advertising this thing that doesn't exist. But the key thing is everyone makes money. But it is important for our people and for our environment that we have a sort of belief baseline. And our belief baseline demands that we do something different from what we are doing now. Because as a Black African, belief in climate finance or subscribing to climate finance, this means this. You are expecting people who kidnapped hundreds of thousands of our ancestors, enslaved them, raped them, killed them, and exploited them for centuries, came back, colonized our nations, extracted untold wealth from our lands, our resources, untold wealth, and still extract these, and never paid a penny for all this. You today are expecting these people to pay us money for their pollution. It takes a special kind of stupidity to actually believe that. Now we need to wake up. That's not going to happen. Climate finance, bullshit term number one. Ignore it and treat it with the contempt it deserves.